can't be without you, baby. Well, by the way, the song by Mary J. Blige, I was listening to it earlier. Re-listen. Obviously, I know the song back in the day from the VH1 Top 20 Countdown. And, God, there were some songs they abused the fuck out. That and The Reason by Hoobastank. I don't know why. During that time frame, I'm pretty sure it was the same year, they were always in the top 3. Great songs. But Be Without You. First of all, I'm going to be honest. I don't want ever someone to feel like they can't be without me. Because, trust me, I can be without you. I've gone, at this point, 25, 26 plus years of my life without you. I think it's crazy when people say, I can't be without you. It's like, yeah, you can. You've been without me longer than you've been with me. I appreciate the fact that you want to be with me. But that creates this ride or die mentality. And then you're El Chapo's wife going to prison for 50 years out of pure quote unquote love, which I don't really feel like that's love, but hey, whatever. But also, when I was listening to this song, I was like, oh, the nostalgia. It brings back the memories, babe. And then the part where like, would you, she's basically talking about, would you lie? Would you try to cover it up? I wouldn't. Basically, if she were to catch you in a lie, she would ask you. And if she found out about something, she would ask you just to see if you would lie. But she already knows the answer. Let's just say in this case, she found out that you cheated on her. It's like, okay. So you're going to ask me just to see if I lie to you. Because if I lie to you, that makes me a terrible person. But if I tell the truth, I'm all of a sudden a saint. It's like, but the action is the action. If I shit on the toilet seat, if you come up to me and ask, hey, did you shit on the toilet seat? And I said, yes, I did. She's like, oh my God, I love your honesty. It's like, I still shat on the toilet seat. The intention didn't change. I feel like that's one of those things where it's just like how many more things do you need to leave my ass? Please, be without me. And welcome to episode 159 of the Off and Beat Podcast. I am your host, Clint Nelson, recording a double header. Recording this July 23rd, 2022. It is 11:15 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to like, follow the pod, subscribe, hit the notification bell, but most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. Jeez, my voice is completely gone. It's weird how the less you use your voice, and since I don't talk a lot in a day, the less I use my voice, the more fucked up it gets. It's almost like if you don't use something, it stops working. Rest in peace, my PB. Well, that would be weird. You would think the less you use your dick, that hey, I'm like a beaver. I'm just keeping it underground till Groundhog Day, baby, and then it's gonna happen over and over and over again, over and over. Over and over again. And I'm not talking about the dilemma. Oh, Kelly. No matter what I do, it will just stay in my pants for you. And when I'm being without you, I'm still gonna fucking lie to you. Oh, Jesus, Clint. But yeah. The double album beyond, I'm gonna be transparent here. The doubleheader pod's typically the second one. Doesn't always hit well, but we're gonna make this hit. That's why I'm wearing the wife beater. Been wearing a lot. By the way, I was thinking about this. Not to make this a gym pod, but it occurred to me. I even looked this up because I'm starting to think, am I becoming a douchebag? Is wearing a tank top every time you go to the gym, or I should say consistently. Let's just say over a 2-week period, every time you go to the gym, you wear a tank top. Are you a douchebag? Yes, I want to ask the question. If you start wearing a tank top every time to show off, and I don't wear it to show off my physique. I honestly, I just wear it because it's actually slightly more comfortable than my justification is, hey, I don't want to ruin my good shirts. Even though athletic dry fit shirt are literally designed to work out. So my justification is probably actually worse than wearing cotton that rashes my titties. But hey, as a man, we will always find the way to rationalize some stuff. But if you wear a tank top every time you go to the gym, I wonder if other people at the gym actually say, this fucking guy. Or in my opinion, I actually don't think anyone at the gym really fucking cares if you wear something. Because because there's so many clothing things I can nitpick of people I see anywhere I go, not just the gym. Because I feel like the gym is a safe place. It's an actual safe space. Not anytime you have to say somewhere is a safe space, it's probably not. Like if you say like, oh, come to my house and we can study, it's a safe space. It's like, well, it's a safe space until, hey, well, Gloria's here 9.5 months later. Oh, gotta love it. Oh, gotta love it. And typically, safe space, quote unquote, when someone describes somewhere as a safe space, it sounds manipulative and deceptive. It sounds very cultish. Cult leaders say, hey, this is a safe space. Tell us what you feel. Just say what's on your mind. Like it's an AA meeting. AA meetings, are those safe spaces? I mean, they're anonymous. But everyone there is judging you. So when you're at the gym and you wear a tank top all the time, I started thinking this. And I'm like, maybe I need to dial back the tank top wearing. Even though a lot of people wear it there. But when you get looked at a lot, am I like, do I need to dial it back? Am I being a douchebag? Is it actually the slightly better physique you have, you should dial back less? As weird as that fucked up sound. We live in a world where the better your physique is, you almost feel guilty for being a distraction. Jeez, I'm starting to sound like a pretentious asshole. But the better of a physique you gain, if people notice that when your physique increases, your physique gets better, you're wearing a tank top, does that kind of make you look like you're a show off? Does it kind of make it look like you're riding high on something? Or does that actually show that you're confident? Because pure confidence is being comfortable in your skin regardless of how it looks. Like, I should have been wearing tank tops when I wasn't looking this way. But that would be true confidence. But now that I'm wearing it when I'm comfortable in what my body is, does that actually make me look insecure? See how fucked up like we live now? We got to think about every little thing we're fucking doing when no one's probably even thinking this. But it's just something I think of. Because I'll think like, because I started judging other dudes that wear tank tops at the gym. It has nothing to do with their physique. It's how they work out and their obsessiveness with how they look in the mirror when they work out. And they're like flexing in the mirror, pulling up the shirt to show their kind of abs, And that's the thing. I don't do that shit. I don't even like looking in the mirror when I work out. But like, I understand looking in the mirror, like, you see whatever. Like, there's a normal way of doing it. But when you see these dudes specifically most of the time, where they're just looking at themselves, and it's unnatural. Like, someone will be on the squat rack, but the big ass mirror's on the right side, so they literally have to pivot their head 90 degrees to the right while they're squatting. 135, I may add, nothing crazy. And they're looking at themselves. Oh yeah, look at my ass to grass. Well, in this case, like more like ass to, whatever the fucking, it's not plastic, but, it's like plaster, weight room floor. You know what I'm talking about. And I'm sitting there like, you're like, this looks so sus. I don't think this how sus, Like, you were literally just watching your ass from the side. It's almost like if you were just waiting in line at a Starbucks and there was a nearby table and you just sat your right cheek on there while like poking it out a little, while twisting your neck a little bit, if that makes sense. Like, you just look weird as hell. And I started thinking, the obsessiveness with how we look, is that part unhealthy? And I was thinking about, like, wow, am I unconsciously wearing tank tops because maybe I seek some validation? I don't know. I don't think that deeply. Well, I guess I do if I've thought about it. But I don't think that deeply. Like, it's honestly just, I wear the same stuff to the gym, so I don't think about what I'm wearing. Because my focus is the work, not everything else. Some people want all the equipment. Some people want all the aesthetics. Some people want all the shit. But the part that matters most is what you're actually doing. And so, I'm like, am I being a douchebag? Wearing a tank top all the time now? To be determined. Maybe I should ask. Do a survey. I'm going to start being like one of those people, like be one of those survey YouTube channels that goes on the street and just walks up to people with putting the mic in the face. Like, do guys that wear where they just start asking random shit, very niche. Do guys that wear tank tops at the gym, are they douchey? You go to a group of 3 girls. You get one girl be like, oh my God, it's so unattractive and all. And one girl's like, well, I don't know. I think be yourself. It's weird how when a guy does something, it's all of a sudden, it's like, well, it kind of comes off as, into themselves and stuff. But then when they wear a tank top where it shows half their belly button, it's confident. But it's cool. We'll differentiate, just differentiate. But it's a safe space, right? By the way, the biggest turnoff for me in life now, this applies to not just the gym, but anywhere now. I honestly think in today's world, the biggest turnoff, and it doesn't even have to be from the sex that you're interested in, just being around someone that just instantly make you like a stranger, be like, I would never probably approach this person or ever want to talk to this person or ever really want to get like to know them, even if they are attractive, even if they seem like they're an interesting person as a friend. I think an immediate turnoff now is because simply whatever the norms is, whatever we've constructed as norm, starts to become a turnoff over time, and things simply flip-flops as norms and shit. I think anyone that's obsessed in their phone and literally feels like they're lost in their phone, I honestly feel like that's like an immediate turn-off switch in our head now. At least for me. Like when I see someone so into their device and they're just scrolling mindlessly, they're just on it, and it doesn't even feel like it's like they know what they're trying to do and then get it done with. And they're in the middle of something that's not really ideal to be on your phone. Like if you're sitting somewhere at a coffee shop on your phone, all right, that's one thing. You're like walking around, you're at a store, you're doing this. It's like, all right. You're in your car driving. Like this isn't that important type of thing. But it's more like it seems like a phone now, a device of a type. It seems like just an excuse to pass time by, but we don't even realize it. Well, I think some people realize it, but it seems like there's this, when I instantly see someone in their phone, it automatically makes me unattracted to them. Not looking at your phone. You gotta understand, like, what I'm talking about when I say this. When you just see someone just lost in their phone, there's something about it that's just like, wow, I automatically assume this is like a lost person and what they want to do in life. I automatically assume, especially someone of my age, and I get younger people more susceptible, but I also feel like at a certain point, you actually have more power to not be involved in this. Since you've grown up with it, you actually should know how to deal with it more. I feel more empathy for an older individual who's like their 40s and 50s who didn't grow up with the phone and stuff. So like when they got presented it, it was like at a stage where when you learn things, it's like learning how to skateboard when you're 30. It's, whoa, I can't believe like I never did it. And then you become so obsessed with it. When your younger years are typically when you become obsessed with stuff and you learn how to manage over time. But when you see like someone my age just like so into the phone, it automatically makes me unattracted to them in every single type. It automatically be like, oh, I would not want to hang out with this person. They would just be trying to find something through the internet or through whatever to fill in time. And then you just kind of feel like someone that's filling in time. And I just kind of, that kind of hit my mind because obviously everyone sees it every day. But I think there was a specific incident where I was seeing someone, the process of someone recording themselves taking up like a whole area at the gym. And I was like, it doesn't bother me when people record themselves working out. I get certain purposes of it. But when you're like taking up like more time to set everything up, do this and do that, just to do like a few reps of an exercise, it's almost like, what did you really accomplish by that? You spent more time thinking about doing something than just fucking doing it. And it's the definition of insecurity seeking validation, in a sense. I don't know. And there's other instances where just someone so being lost in your phone, it really just kind of, there's something about it that makes me feel like there's something about you that is just seeking something that you're just kind of seeking anything to be thrown at you. And it doesn't seem like you're seeking anything specific, or you don't have anything in mind original that you actually want to learn, or you're not really seeking any type of information specific of something that you thought of or something that you have an interest in. It just kind of seems like you were just entertain me. And that's okay to want to be entertained. But when the entertainment is kind of overtaking you, there's something about it that just makes me like, I don't even know what I would talk to this person about. Because they would look at me like their phone. Entertain me. Talk to me about something. Fill my time. And I think like it's something so small. And I think when you see something so small, you overthink it. Like I was talking about the tank top thing earlier, but it's something so small, but something you think about, and then of course you generalize, you make assumptions based off your experience. You make, honestly, probably some stereotypes based off maybe someone's body type, how they look, and they're probably the same ones that always say like, oh, I can never get this in my life. I can never achieve this. I can never. Oh, it's so easy for everyone else because everyone had because nepotism. You had a dad that had this. You come from money. It must be nice being pretty. It must be nice, pretty privilege. It must be nice to not get fucked over all the time. It's like, well, maybe if you opened your eyes a couple inches above your phone, you would see what everyone else is see. And that is just someone who is seeking something that's not real. And I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't have a negative, warped sense of view about things. Because I say it's like the most positive people I've ever met now are people who aren't really like into their phones like that. Doesn't mean they don't have a phone. It just means that when you don't see them just scrolling on apps, you don't see them just talking on the phone with their girlfriend for 15 minutes about fucking nothing. I'll be honest, there's nothing more cringy And look, as a guy, I get it. Like, sometimes you could be on the phone and you're trying to do your part and fulfill time because it matters. But there's nothing worse than hearing two people talk on the phone. And I get the puppy love shit, but when you are grown people-ish, at least people my age, and you're sitting on the phone, like, talking about nothing, and I don't mean like a subject matter about nothing. I mean like you were saying, yeah, then this. It's like, oh my God, remember when we watched this first show on Netflix together? It's like, but when I went, oh, here we go. When I went on that date to Cheesecake Factory. First of all, when me and the person I was with, we sat at this table and there was like tables in sync, which by the way, I don't understand the structure of having a booth on one side and a chair on the other side. You were just asking for like, hey, you make it awkward for the two people where it's like, do you want a booth? You want the chair? It's like, it don't matter to me. Well, it don't matter to me. It's like, why can't it just be booths on both sides? Why can't it just be chairs on both sides? So we don't have to think about this. You're just giving me one more fucking thing to think about. But whatever. It's cool. But we sat down. And there was this one-on-one, I would call them a couple, but honestly, I'll be honest, I questioned the guy's sexuality. He had a peach drink, and I felt like his peaches were going more that night than in Georgia. It was just his voice. It's not even his voice, his mannerisms. And it seemed like the girl did not want to fuck him at all. And I'm a pretty good gauger about that. Like, I'm pretty good gauge. Like, if you're around a guy and a girl and they're together, it's pretty obvious. You can tell when the girl just does not want to fuck the guy or does not find him really attractive. And she may do it anyways, because, whatever. And it's like, all right. But you could tell, like, it's not that hard to figure out when someone's just not into someone. It's really not. Especially the guy. I'm actually better at telling when a girl likes a guy than if a guy likes a girl. As weird as that may fucking sound. But anyways. When we got there, like, they were very talkative, but when we sat down, they got really quiet. And I don't know what it was. I was like, all right. But shit, what was the fucking story I was going to tell? Shit, what was I talking about? Oh, fuck me. Jesus, Clint. Oh, Jesus. The guy, the girl. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Why am I drawing a mental blank? Sorry, guys. Stick with me. I'm bringing it back. Together. Okay. So, when we sat down, oh my fucking Jesus, Clint. I'm really pissed. I know what I was talking about, but I don't. I was talking about a couple. Alright, I was talking about a couple, Cheesecake Factory, sitting down. Oh, when we went on the date at Cheesecake Factory, or when I was with my date, there was a couple there. Fuck me. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, basically, he was not fuckable. Oh, well, yeah, okay, yes. So we sat down. And it was just insanely, weirdly quiet. Like, you could just tell when someone whole, like, mood shifts. And, oh, yes, here's what it was. All right, I don't care what people say. You overhear people's conversation, especially when they're really quiet and then they speak at certain points. And I'm just sitting there, like, hey, we should get this for Avatar. And then the dude was so desperate for conversation, right? Like, you just drawn, like, to me, I feel like you should be able to be in someone's presence and not have to speak every second to feel like you got to fulfill it. Like, it's okay just to be in someone's presence and just be there. Like, I don't think it was their first date by any means, because it wasn't. Because apparently they watched some type of show before. And of course it was the typical bullshit. oh my God, like, do you remember when we watched this fucking show on Netflix? I don't remember the fucking show. It was like some, I honestly, I forgot the show they were talking about because I didn't give a fuck. Because it didn't seem like a show I would watch as a guy, but whatever. It's like, oh my God, we watched it. It's like, you don't remember when we watched that show? And she's like, I mean, yeah, I just don't remember. Like, he's like, come on, we watched the show. Like, that was like the first show we watched. He did the whole, like, remember the first show to try to bring nostalgic to the conversation, which basically means, translation, he doesn't have anything interesting to talk about. When you start bringing back old shows that you watched together, so we Netflix this show together, it's like, Jesus, dude, like, it's got to that point. I feel you, man. I feel you. But damn, better luck next time. But it was like the second we sat down, like their whole energy shifted. You can tell when like people are like, oh, like having fun. And then you sit down and I don't know what it was. They just kind of got quiet. It was almost like they were disgusted by my presence. Maybe because I was white. I don't know. You know, story of my life. Always sticking out. I would say like a sore thumb, but feels like that was in his booty hole. Pucker up, baby. Pucker up. Talk about the pull in, pull out method. But no, like, and we sat down, and I was just over here, and I'm just like, oh my God, like this girl is not into this guy, and she was being nice. It's not that she wasn't engaging, but she was just bored out of her fucking mind. And I think because the person I was with, we were having decent conversation. I think she felt that. I think there's this weird competition where girls, when they're around, like when there's multiple dates like side by side each other, I think when girls feel like the other couple is having a better time or is enjoying their interaction, they start questioning theirs more. And there's this weird like kind of, they start questioning what they're doing, who they're with. And honestly, I think she knew she was with a femboy. And she was trying to get with this boy. And I felt that. And I think, Jesus, I'm starting to sound like a pretentious asshole. But I don't know what other explanation. But what it really exposed to me is that, wow, like, you really don't understand your lack of awareness until you view other situations that are very similar and you're like, wow, I've done that before. But then you actually see it from a point of view, you're like, whoa, this is really uncomfortable. And I started imagining like how many dates I've been on where I did this same shit probably in my younger days, and the other person was probably bored or felt uncomfortable. And I didn't even realize it. And that's one of those epiphany, like Drake said. Shit, when he's talking about my bodyguards, my security guards, they'll hit you out of nowhere like epiphanies. And that was a big one. I was like, wow. All because I felt this pressure to be interesting all the time. All because I felt like you always had to continue talking about something. When sometimes it's okay, just sit there and fucking look at a menu and eat. Like, you don't have to talk every fucking 5 seconds. It's okay. Let me send a PSA to people. I don't care if it's your first date. I don't care if you've been together for 5 years. I don't care if you've been together for 50 years. It is okay just to sit with someone, smile at them, and enjoy for a minute or two. And then kind of let things naturally play out. Let them ask you a question if you've been carrying the fucking load. Like, you know when you've been carrying the load. There's nothing worse than when you are carrying the load in any situation. And us guys, trust me, we're always carrying loads. Um, and that's why you do the laundry. Um, okay, sorry, Clint. That's why I never lived with a girl. Because, I do laundry every couple days. And it's weird how I've been with more girls where I know how to do more, housekeeping laundry shit than they do. And I guess it shows my low standards. Um, okay, Clint, relax. Get a hold of yourself. Hold these and let me hold you. Like a real man's supposed to do my laundry. And I got a laundry list of problems now. Okay. Eat this Tide Pod, baby. Okay. But no, seriously. It just goes to show that that yeah, this like overthinking complex that we have nowadays, because there's such like this weird pressure that because there's this heavy competition, and I think it's internal. Like there's always competition in between sexes. Like guys, we're always going to compete with other guys for girls, and girls will always, steal you from the one you already have. God damn it, yeah, ladies, you come and get me, and you just reel me in. They got me with the hook. But no, like the competition thing's a real thing, and I get that. So it's like if you go on a date and that person's uninteresting, and you have other options, and you know that there's nearby dude, and it's weird because when everyone knows you're available, no one wants you. But once you start going out, seeing someone, there's this aura. Even if you don't tell people, there's this aura that people start sensing. I think it's natural. Like, that's why it's always more attractive to, have someone cheat on their boyfriend or girlfriend. And then it is like, hey, I've been available for the past 4 months. It's like, yeah, but, start seeing someone, I'll be interested in you. Because it's a weird thing. Like, I took something that wasn't mine in a weird way. And there's a lot of power to that. But I think when you naturally start seeing someone, your vibe changes if you're happy and all this stuff. And people sense that. So if you're kind of with someone that you're not really interested in, or you're kind of out with someone that you're not really vibing with, but they're vibing with you, which I guess that's not really a vibe if only one of you. Let's just say if they're talking to you, but you're just kind of like, yeah, cool, that's nice. Aw. There's this thing that, yeah, you're going to see. You're going to see if, like, yeah, I can go to fucking. It's like, this is what I'm going to get from you, and you're not even that interesting, and you're taking me to fucking P.F. Chang's? Who the fuck are you, dude? Or girl? When there's plenty of guys that could probably take you to better places, or that will, or you probably do different events with that fit your personality more. Like, there's this real thing where the competition shit is real. And I get that. Like, honestly, like, I don't think there's a problem with that. It also works the other way. And I think that's where this shit kind of gets weird. Is that typically, nowadays, with the pressure of social media and, honestly, group chats between when you have 7 or 8 girls in a group chat or 7 or 8 guys, it's completely like different, but they're both just as nasty and harsh. I would actually argue that girls group chats, I've seen 1 or 2 of those. Jesus fucking Christ. Especially if you have a girlfriend that's in one of those. Hey man, at your own risk. And you just gotta be able to compartmentalize, like, this group chat is not real. Like, yes, it's real shit they're saying, but, it's just a bunch of, oh my God, he's so fine. And then guys' group chat is like, yeah, I triple nutted in this girl. And it's like, but that's my sister. That's when you say sister, sister. With the honey in the middle and some leeway. It's not your sister if it's in a three-way. Um, but yeah, that's the lyrics of the song, right? Um, oh baby, oh baby. Oh Jesus, who's texting me? Oh, kind of busy. There's this thing. Sure was. Oh yeah, yeah. No. There's definitely this pressure in between where I think we listen to too many people in our close circle. We listen to too many people that we're around. That could be work. That could be coworkers. That could be friends. That could be even honestly family to a certain extent. I don't think people have the ability to think for themselves because we can be easily manipulated. We'd be easily pressured into things. I think peer pressure, honestly, is probably more prevalent now more than ever because there's no urgency for you to have to think for yourself. And I think when you listen to people talk about dating and shit, it's honestly just a regurgitated circle of what they want the dating world to accept them as. Instead of just accepting that maybe your characteristics don't fit in the type of dating world that's currently, active, let's just say. If you ain't for the streets, you better learn to beat your meat. I think it's something like for every one girl, there's 10 guys on like Tinder or some shit. So obviously the odds are going to be against you on there. And then it doesn't necessarily mean a level playing field. And then there's probably like 15-20% guys that actually get swiped right multiple times a day. And then the rest of y'all are just like, hey, I guess I'll swipe when I get more likes tomorrow. Because tomorrow will be a better day, as Eeyore would say. Maybe tomorrow I'll get a match and light my bed on fire. But there's definitely this. I'm not gonna say I'm not a believer in like when it comes to body stuff. Like when it comes to body or dating, I don't believe in quote unquote that there's this unrealistic expectation. I don't think that there's a such thing as unrealistic body standards. I think when people say that, it's really just I don't want to. You gotta accept that there's a unrealistic maybe for you. But when you see someone, it shouldn't be, I want to look directly like that. It should just motivate you to be like, wow, I want to look the best I can be. And look what is possible with the human body type of stuff. And I think you could translate that to when you see that you got to be able to compartmentalize what's actually directly affectable to you. Like, I don't look at Thor, I don't look at Chris Hemsworth and say, that's realistic for me. But I do look at him and be like, man, I can try. I can do better. I can train harder. I can I could be more consistent. When you see that, it should be like, oh, I think I work hard, but I don't really work as hard as I think I do. And when it comes to competition, it's like, oh, wow, I think I'm interesting. I think I have this. I think I'm funny. I think I'm this. It's like, yeah. And there's another guy who has all those qualities, plus the 6'4", and makes $120K, and drives a car with good axles. And when he turns, it doesn't make a lot of noise, or any at all, because it's not supposed to. There's just hey, there are just things that you got to come to grips with that's realistic expectations for you. I think that's where it gets fucked up when people really think that they deserve or they're obligated to things just because they exist in that world. Just because you go on a date with someone, it doesn't mean you deserve these best amazing date gifts that you see out here, or that your friend got, or the dates got, whatever. Because that's just like, there may be a reason why your date hasn't done that for you. Maybe they got other shit that matters to them too. But I don't know. I'm not trying to get too much on tangent there. But I think that when you hear the word unrealistic expectations, what the fuck does that actually even really mean? Jesus, here's Clint's soapbox. It bothers me. Because I don't believe that's, I don't think that's a thing. I think unrealistic expectations is really just you are not okay with what comes with shit. See, I think people want things, but they don't want to deal with what comes with those type of behaviors. They don't want to deal with what comes with those expectations that they demand. And what typically comes with a person with those expectations they demand. And I think that's where you got to be more realistic with your expectation. But no, you can have all those. But that doesn't mean the person that fills your quota actually wants you in return. That's universal. That's guy or girl. Because there's guys out here that want a woman to do this, and that, and look like this, and, bust, as Plies would say, bust it, baby, with Neo on the remix. Because, baby, it's all because of you. I know, but I can't help it. I love the way it feels. And boy, this is not a fantasy. It's real. And then they're like, but then then they can't do shit. But they think just because they're a man, they have inherited value. Or that there's something worth the shit. When it's like, no. You may have all the things that you've heard of characteristics that someone wants. And a lot of people may not still want you. Because maybe, just maybe, you're ugly. Or maybe, honestly, I'm being serious, maybe there's just things about you that come off a certain way. That you have to learn to either accept that's a part of you or do something to change about it. Then you reverse on the other side. There are girls that expect this, that, and the other from a guy. But they can't do shit. They want a guy to be this, but they don't want to fit the quota. They don't want to fit the characteristics that a guy that they aspire, the quote unquote, that they have an expectation for, would actually want from them. So when I hear this word unrealistic expectations, I just think going back to, when it comes to the tank top, the guy at the date that you feel, it's a lot of lack of self-awareness. So the people that are stuck in their phone, it's a lot of lack of self-awareness of how you kind of look, of how you really come off. And I say that because I know I have a resting, quote, I don't like using resting bitch face because I'm a guy. I have a resting stank face, let's just say, where people always assume that I have a problem. Like I'm sad or something. I'm actually 99% of the time, I'm pretty normal. I'm pretty happy. Like, then they ask me, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm great. They're like, oh, yeah, you just seem like you want to stab someone. And I'm like, what are you trying to do later? I have a pencil sharpener. I could sharpen a pencil for you, baby. I'm all lead. And I'll lead you to the promised land, or Neverland. And oh boy, the ending will never land. Let's just say that. But no, when I hear quote unquote realistic expectations, I just kind of roll my eyes. Because the second I hear that as like a common point from someone, my first instinct that I think from that individual is that they want everyone else to lessen what they want for what they want. That's automatically my first instinct. Anytime someone starts telling people what they should want and what is wrong, quote unquote, with dating, what is wrong or wrong, quote unquote, with modern society, whatever the fuck that means. It seems like you just have had a harder time accepting the fact that your pool of what you want is going to be lessened because of your standards and expectations. So it's okay for you to have standards and expectations, but not for other people to have standards and expectations. And I really think the number one thing you need to, my unsolicited advice, anytime you start going out there seeking maybe a partner or even just someone to mingle with or to hang out with, I would say the first thing you need to do before you actually seriously start doing that shit is you really need to have a simple list in your head of things that you don't want. You may not know what you want, but you should know what you don't want. And I just mean a couple things. Don't be one of those people with 20 things like, oh, the way his eyebrows bother the fuck out of me. It's like, eyebrows can be easily fixed. All right. It's like, oh, he has this mole on his upper chest. It's like, all right, well, he could wear a sweater next time. There's simple fix. Don't be a pervert just nitpicking things just because you don't like someone, really. But things like when someone talks about their ex, if that comes up, that may be oh, Jesus. This is pretty early on for no fucking reason. There may be a situation where, I don't know, you just got to have a couple characteristics in your head that are just things that are not for you. And then go from there. You got to be a little bit more open-minded these days than previous days, but you got to still have a standard. If that makes sense, I think the problem today is that people are either way too lenient and way too open-minded to shit that they don't really believe in, but they feel like if they don't expand, if they don't expand their open-mindedness, then there's this pressure that they're going to be single and lonely and all this shit, instead of it actually makes it harder because then people can't differentiate what you actually value. If you're, let's say, if you're a woman of faith or a man of faith, and let's say it really matters to you that the person you're with is a person of faith as well. That means you're a believer in God, you go to church and all, because when you have kids, it's important to you to be a faith-based family. Well, if you meet someone and they're not, right? You may be like, well, yeah, this person, I kind of like them, but they're atheists. Not agnostic, they're atheists. Where, they don't really believe in it. Even if they're open-minded agnostic, I don't know, we'll see, it depends on the person. It's you're going to basically make someone convert to something that they would only be converting for you, and it's not really genuine. And if that matters so much to you, it's better to have that standard to begin with and be like, you know what? This is kind of a stepping stone for me. And if I know this now, then there's no point in even really going forward because it's going to matter to me. If that is something that matters to you. That's just an example. And the problem is people will be like, maybe that's something maybe that's something that I don't know. I have to see. Then what happens is it opens the floodgates that you justify that thing, then you justify another thing, then another thing. The next thing you know, you're sitting with a guy who's drinking a peach alcohol drink. That's the shit that happens. Let's just say, I'm assuming they took that cheesecake to go. That cheesecake wasn't the only thing that was getting, Smiling that ass like cheesecake. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. I don't know. I think people are too open-minded, as fucked up as that sounds. I think I just hope that we get to a point where we have, some... I just hope we get to a point with each other as people where it doesn't have to be this goddamn difficult to do the simplest of shit. I think that's the hardest part these days. People are so easily manipulated. People are so easily convinced. People have no real conviction that even when you hang out or go out with someone, you don't even really know if what that person says or do or think is actually what they really think. Because there's so many things that could have led up to the thought process that you don't really know if that's what they actually think. As fucked up as that sounds. So you don't really know what you're getting. And I think that causes a lot of deception because a lot of people haven't really thought about what's important to them. And I think that's honestly, when you start getting out here, you start seeing that a lot. You start seeing a lot of how people really are. I know that sounds like, oh, who are you to tell me who I am? I know my truth. It's like, really? The paternity test says otherwise. Oh, Jesus. That got dark real quick. Oh, Jesus. No, like, laughing at my own pain like a Kevin Hart special. Nah, but look, seriously, it's, I'll advise, I'll leave the pod on this note. I feel like I've rambled too much. I don't have a whole lot more to talk about. I don't even know what I really talked about most of this episode. Probably absolutely nothing. Pretty sure when I listen back to certain parts of this, I'll go, what the fuck was this? That's why double headers are not the best idea. But hey, gotta give the fans something. Bonus. Be like, oh, it's a bonus Patreon. It's like, if I were to make a Patreon and any of y'all would pay for it, I would actually be mad at you. I would be like, you guys obviously don't think for yourselves. But no, look, I'll leave you guys with this tonight. Just think about something as you get older. You're more mindful of wasting not only your time, but you should become more mindful of not wasting others, because as older you get, you obviously probably have less time because life's probably more busy. You're probably more productive. You probably settle into something. You probably know more of what you want in life. And you're probably more just driven to things that are better suited to you, which simply takes more time in a day. It simply means you're a busier person. You probably work more hours. You probably have more side projects. You probably just have more goals. You probably just don't have the time to just go out and date and meet around and just walk around and do whatever. So you should be more mindful of your time. But you also should be mindful of others, because if you're going to date within your age range, if you're a normal fucking person, they're probably going to do a lot of similar stuff. So, obviously, honesty, transparency, all that shit, that doesn't really need to be said. I think, like I was saying, you having an idea of what you don't want so you don't waste your own time matters a lot. And it doesn't create this negative reinforcement in your head of all this shittiness we see in today's world. So where we just characterize the opposite sex as, oh, they're all shitty and all this shit. Guys and girls, we're just all shitty because we're all this. It's like, yeah, because it's a cycle that this is what works. This is this repetitive thing that has fucked each other over for years now. And this is what we know. And phones, honestly, I believe are one of the biggest factors for that. It's created the inability to actually think for ourselves. People are highly more emotional. People care more about what someone says on a story than how they actually act with them in person. People care more about if they talked for 3 hours about what they ate that day than actually just setting up a date once every week and a half or 2 weeks where you spend a couple hours with the person and actually have a meaningful time, create a connection where you can actually build more in those 2 hours and maybe text sparingly leading up to it and have an actual more meaningful, engaging time together than just trying to saturate each other's time. And I think people value, I think that's where the shit gets fucked up. People would rather talk on the phone and text abundance amount, but not actually make time to actually have meaningful time with each other. Oh, Jesus, like Clint getting in his soapbox. But no, honestly. And even, I used to get, one of my biggest issues with past girls' days is to say that we don't talk on the phone that much. When we do, it's kind of awkward and weird. You don't text a lot. We don't really text in conversational. It's like, okay. But when we hang out in person, it's typically pretty well. Yeah, but there's the lead, and I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not saying there couldn't be improvements, but at the same time, would you rather have someone that talks to you clean and text, but then when they're in person, they're like, yeah, it's cool, and they just talk about nothing? Like, is that what you rather want? Because I don't, and I mentioned my faults in the past, or at least I shouldn't even say I mentioned what I've been criticized for in the past. I'll say that because I'm not necessarily saying that they're right. I never admit I'm wrong, baby. Once you admit fault, it's it's like an earthquake. That fault just keeps growing. And it's just an excuse for you to continue getting in that fault, no matter fucking what you do right. But I will get criticized for not being a texter or caller all the time or blah, blah, blah. And I had to come to grips like, well, that's because I don't value those that much. And that's a hard place to get to, a point where you admit that I don't value what you value, apparently. Regardless of all what I feel I do right, that I feel is important, obviously that's not as important to you. And I think that's a weird place to, and I also think that's more of a younger thing. I was also younger ages, like 19, 20, stuff like that. I'm 26. And that it's really a different game 6 years later. Like, it's the ages from 2020, it's like a whole different dating idea. It's a whole different thing you expect. It's a whole different thing that matters to you. You're a different person. Everyone's a different person. Like, I couldn't imagine sitting there on the phone with someone for an hour for anything. Like, the conversation would have to be out of this world. Because the idea of, like, me sitting on the phone for an hour, not doing what I normally do, and taking time to talk with someone on the phone for an hour, like, that would take something crazy these days, to be honest. But in person, I'm actually more comfortable talking. In person, I feel like there's actual things that naturally will come up more. But to some people, talking on the phone constantly, or at least regularly, texting regularly, matters because it makes you keep an active engagement, which I guess has value. But something I've had to come to terms with is that stuff doesn't really matter to me, because I don't think it really matters a whole lot if you really like someone and you truly have a connection with someone and an understanding. Because it's not the amount of time you talk and spend with someone that matters. It's about when you spend together. What does it feel like? does it make all the times that you didn't speak during the week worth it? Or is it the only way I could validate spend this okay time with you is the fact if there was a decent build up to this? And there's a lot of ways you can look at that. And for me personally, I don't give a fuck. I cannot talk to someone for a week and then be like, hey, let's hang out Thursday at 5 o'clock and we go somewhere. And then we hang out and it's amazing. And I will get more of an endorphin high. I will get more of that like post pump, like the feeling you get when you go to the gym and the rest of the day you just feel good. Like I think there's like this internal like, I think it's actually science, like this internal 8 or 12 hour thing that after when you go on a good date with someone or you hang out with someone, a friend in person, the interpersonal connection that matters. Like there's this after effect that sticks with you that makes you feel good. Your mood is typically better. I think it's science. It's science, bitch. I think that shit's real. So, I don't know. What the fuck do I know? Obviously a little bit too much experience here. Who needs a Joe Rogan experience when you got a Clint's past failures of a whole lot of experiences? So yeah, that was episode 159, the Often Be podcast, where I said I would end it 10 minutes ago, but I was like, fuck it, let's make it an hour for no fucking reason. All right, guys, don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell on all podcast apps. Most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. Unless, of course, that's on your list of things that you don't want. And in that case, I don't want you and no one else wants you either. Have a great day.